Hey Greg, thanks for stopping by. I know Amway pretty well, and their corporate philosophy is really free enterprise. Free trade agreements were a big discussion at this election. Can you talk a little bit about free trade agreements and what they are and how Amway views them?
Sure, Chuck. Thanks for the opportunity to come in today and talk with you about this. It's a great topic, and we've been leveraging free trade agreements since 1994 with NAFTA. I know it's kind of gotten a bad rap during the political cycle that we just went through, but really what they are is a vehicle for Michigan manufacturers to be more competitive. It lowers the duty rate at the foreign destination. So if you put yourself in the shoes of a foreign buyer looking to purchase a product, by certifying the item for a free trade agreement, we lower the foreign duty rate, making our Michigan products, more affordable to the end customer. So if they're on the fence on whether to buy an item from, say, the U.S. or another country, the free trade agreement really is a great vehicle to lower the duty impact and make our products more affordable.
So if I understand this right, it actually helps you increase your sales as a company.
Exactly, it helps increase sales. It keeps money in your pocket. There's no need to. What we want to do for customs duties is pay the correct amount, but a lot of money is left on the table. And I think there's a big misunderstanding potentially on what free trade agreements do, what they don't do. They're not evil. They're not bad. I mean, if you leverage them, it really is a good thing.
And more companies in Michigan particularly are leveraging them.
More and more companies, very much so. I mean, Chorus, the U.S. Chorus agreement was one of the last big ones. And of course, we have the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is on the horizon as well. So,
what are some resources that small companies can use to know about these situations and be aware of them?
Well, we have export.gov as well as the Michigan District Export Council, which I'm a member of, and those tools are available. There's a lot of information online. It's really not overly complicated. I mean, we don't want people to feel intimidated or have unnecessary anxiety about the FTAs, the free trade agreements. They're really easy to work with once you get to know how to work your way through them. And again, we have councils available to help out.
Well, and aren't they, when you reach these free trade agreements, you're really slicing through some of the bureaucracy, aren't you? And making it easier for everybody to trade back and forth?
You really are. So they're designed to lower the tariff rates, but they also lower the red tape. So they make the health ministry requirements and some of the other requirements that people trip up on as far as how things are labeled and some of the red tape that sort of are non-tariff trade barriers, we say. It cuts through all of that.
Another important component of your job is supply chain. And supply chain for Amway must be just an unbelievably big job.
It is a very big job. It's a very demanding, interesting job, and there's really no greater place to work if you're a trade guy like me. Because really we work with our procurement area, our manufacturing area. We make a lot of our products here in the United States, here in Michigan, as a matter of fact, and Southern California. And so working with our procurement and our sourcing area, we're able to leverage, for example, the free trade agreements, looking at getting U.S. componentry into our products so that they meet the rules for the agreements. And so there's always a big challenge. I mean, we had the port strike on the West Coast. That was a few years ago. So there's always something interesting or an interesting development to work through. But it's really, if you want to get exposure to the global supply chain, there's no greater place in West Michigan to be an Amway.
I bet that's true. What advice, I guess, would you give a company that wants to expand, and how do they take that first step, and what do they think about? I think you make it seem so easy. It probably is easier than it should be, but how can we get that word out to people?
I think the biggest thing, Chuck, is just to, again, not be intimidated or not have an unnecessary anxiety about free trade. It's really not all that complex once you get your feet wet and you work with a good advisor or a good partner with this. So again, there's a lot of resources online. The Michigan District Export Council can help out as well. And start slowly. Look at one of your bigger product lines or maybe a key customer. And again, you have to take the mindset of this makes your product more competitive.
Sure.
And so if you're not leveraging the agreements, you're potentially losing sales or having an unnecessary expense.
So that's a real good point. I think we should talk a minute about the downside of getting out of some of these free trade agreements and what that could mean to companies. What could it mean to an Amway like this?
Well, for us, it's tens of millions of dollars a year in savings overseas with our related foreign affiliates that buy our products that are made here in Michigan. So it's very, very substantial. It's a big impact.
So would they stop buying those products, you think? They aren't competitive.
If they're not competitive, they could potentially not buy the products,
Yeah.
right? They could buy a German item, for example, or if you have a competitor that is making a similar item and the buyer's on the fence, that free trade agreement lowers the red tape and makes it more easy and affordable for them to import.
So we could possibly lose a lot of sales, a lot of revenue from tax revenue too.
We very much could, yeah. So it's
What about jobs?
Jobs as well. I mean, there's again in the election cycle, people that aren't familiar with free trade agreements don't really know the details of how they work, but they do bring jobs back here. They really do. I mean, when you're sourcing here, when you're producing here, and exporting from the U.S. and from Michigan to overseas locations, you're bringing jobs right back here to the U.S. and Michigan.
I think the other thing I find fascinating with this is that you have these research and development companies that are here. You have one, and how do you got a product you want to take out, but you're limiting yourself to the number of customers you're ever going to want to get to.
Right.
And so how do you get these new innovative products out to people if you don't have these agreements?
You really need to leverage all the avenues that are available to you because, as we all know, the world's gotten a lot more smaller in the global economy. And competition is fierce and tough in a lot of sectors.
Yep.
And so really there's no better way for us to compete than to leverage all the vehicles that we have available to us, to include free trade agreements.
Yep, I had a speaker in earlier today and he was saying, they're not just thinking about Indiana, they're thinking about India.
Right, exactly, yes.
And that quote stuck with me. Greg, you're a good member of the West Michigan DEC, District Export Council. And you spend a lot of time there and energy. We appreciate that, but why do you do that?
Well, Chuck, we like to give back to the community. I've been with Amway now for 24 years. I've got a lot of experience, and I really enjoy coaching, mentoring, training. It's just one of the things I gravitate towards. So public speaking or spending time with companies to have them learn how things work is really kind of something that I just gravitate to. So I like to give back to the community, and we all have different backgrounds and levels of expertise in different sectors. Mine is on things like free trade and logistics, and so coaching companies, working with companies to help them take advantage of these programs is really appealing to me, and it's gratifying in helping them out.
That's nice. Well, we thank you for your service, Greg. Thank you very much.
Thank you.